CEO of CMA, will be actually doing the demonstration today along with Juan Perez. So that being said, I'm going to turn this over to Phil. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Phil, you're up.
All right. Well, thanks, Lonnie, and thank you everyone again for joining. Again, CMA, we are here to give you a little bit of demo and overview of the Email Manager Suite and how it integrates with Laserfiche. There are three primary applications from an ECM or enterprise content management standpoint that we want to cover today with Email Manager. And that's the ability to manage correspondence, the ability to tie email conversations, attachments, and capturing messages into a business process or triggering a workflow. And then with a new product that we're going to give you a glimpse of today, the Email Manager Archive Service, this really starts to tap into the records management aspect with email as we're able to connect to mail servers and archive everything from a mailbox or archive a certain parameters for emails from a particular mailbox or multiple mailboxes. So we will first just kind of cover the agenda here. We're going to introduce the suite via PowerPoint, talk to you about some of the features. We will do a demonstration of Email Manager Enterprise, which is an Outlook integration tied in with Laserfiche. Then we'll do an archive service demonstration, which is a mail server integration tied in with Laserfiche. We'll recap. We do have a poll, a one-question poll for the end of the presentation, and then, of course, Q&A. So in your questions box in GoToMeeting, feel free to type questions in there, and we will start to address those as quickly as we can during the presentation, and we'll try to get through all of them within the 45 minutes to an hour slot. Okay, so Email Manager, the suite, we really have three modules on desktop, enterprise, and the archive service. They're all integrated with Laserfiche, and there's very little difference between the desktop and the enterprise. The primary difference is deployment. One is a single user as a desktop, the desktop license would describe, where they're downloading the Outlook add-in, entering their Laserfiche credentials, and have the ability to start tracking conversations, indexing emails and attachments alongside of Laserfiche, and of course being able to search for email and other Laserfiche content. The enterprise version is centrally deployed. It has a server component to it, but it's managing multiple users that are all running the same environment, so the same Outlook experience, the same email manager experience, and that's deployed through system administrator or IT. Again, everything is going to flow down through Laserfiche there. So moving off to the right here, the archive service that connects to Exchange today. We intend to be able to connect to Google Mail as well with their API. That's not going to be terribly difficult to add. And of course, everything, again, here is going to flow into Laserfiche. So desktop and enterprise, really the same product. You can just use one desktop to Laserfiche where there aren't multiple users running the same configuration. The enterprise version, same Outlook experience, relatively speaking, and IT is going to standardize how all users interact with the add-in. So you can see here on the right, really this is a user-driven experience for email management and email archiving. It pulls your Laserfiche templates in to the Outlook interface. It allows you to do conversation tracking. It allows you to search emails attachments and other documents stored in Laserfiche right from within Laserfiche. And it also allows you to apply rules-based policy for handling emails, whether they're in your inbox or inbox folders or sent items. So we've got some other productivity tools with the ability to apply default templates, do related record search, manage credentials, those types of things. And we're going to stay out of the detail as much today and really kind of give you an overview. And of course, we're always available for a deeper dive follow-up if needed. So looking at the archive service, the interface is very similar. Again, it's connected to Laserfiche, but everything's happening on the server side. So there's very little end-user experience here other than the administrator when they set it up. It's the type of thing you set it up, it's a service, it runs quietly in the background. Things just happen after it's set up. So we're connected to the Exchange server, the mail server on one hand, and then connected to Laserfiche on the other hand. So it's almost like an ETL tool, extract, transform, load, if you're familiar with those technologies. And so the interface is very similar. We have parity in terms of how you can create rules to parse emails and archive them to Laserfiche, whether that's a user using the Outlook interface or whether it's an administrator setting up policies for the mail server. That experience is going to be very similar. So the archive service does two primary things once it's set up. It listens and applies rules. So it's parsing the mail server, looking for the rules or the policies, the emails, the messages that meet those policies. For example, an alias invoices at abccode.com. It's looking for all messages that come into that mailbox, and it'll automatically pick it up, copy it, move it to Laserfiche with message properties mapped to, from, date, subject. And we can also capture and import with other Laserfiche metadata like template, repository, field, etc. So it gives you the ability to automatically monitor, listen, and move messages into Laserfiche simply by connecting to the mail server. The other nice feature set with the archive service is that we are able to display trends, activity, frequencies, and look at how rules are being processed over time. So the dashboards are really the administrators or the user's interface for the archive service because, again, it's just set up and working in the background. Dashboards are really where you're going to come in and take a look at the activity, how it's functioning, and of course do some analysis on trend activity, especially if you're using the archive service to trigger a Laserfiche workflow. And so we'll talk a little bit about those examples once we get into the actual demonstration. So the question that we get most often is, well, which one would we use and why? And so the answer is really, of the three ECM topics we introduced in the beginning, correspondence, business process, and records management, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your ECM strategy, with your Laserfiche implementation. We all know email is a major issue. A lot of information is pushed through it. It's a very transactional system, and we use it for a lot of different things. That could be correspondence about a particular document, whether that's internal or external. We use email to informally manage certain business processes. But we may also want to trigger a a standardized business process that's set up as a Laserfiche workflow. And then, of course, Laserfiche has records management, retention, legal hold, and compliance capability. And, of course, email is a major source of content when it comes to e-discovery and retention. So really, as we are looking at these three categories, correspondence is, how do you have your Laserfiche environment? If you're looking to better manage correspondence related to your Laserfiche templates, documents that are being stored in those templates, and their fields, the Outlook plugin is really kind of the tool, right? Because we need more input from the end users. It requires knowledge on the end user side to give us that information. Are we talking about a contract? Are we talking about permits? Are we talking about invoices? And then if we are, who are we talking to or with? And so that's correspondence. Correspondence related to a department or a person and their role and documents that they're managing within Laserfiche. Again, the business process is really where there's a lot of overlap. So you have Laserfiche, it has workflow, you have potentially quick fields and or workflow for Laserfiche, and we want to use email to capture information to trigger a workflow. Or we want to use email as a supplement to the conversation audit trail around how a document's being approved or associated in the system. So that's when we can use either or. It depends on how automated you want it to be. Is it something that an end user needs to review before we trigger the workflow? Or do we want the information to come directly from the mail server and be put into Laserfiche where workflow or quick field can pick it up and then move it for us, so that record for us. And then, of course, if your organization is truly interested in records management, compliance, and Laserfiche is going to be the repository for retention rules, compliance, those types of things, and you want email in Laserfiche, then you're definitely going to be using the archive service. So we're going to be looking at the mailboxes, the mail server, the mailboxes, and we're going to be setting things up so that we're capturing all email moving from the mail server and into Laserfiche. So it really depends on your use case, your scenarios. Are we looking for a productivity tool application that's more organized and user-driven? Or are we looking for something that's more IT-oriented, records-oriented, that's fully automated? And the scenario, the answer might be, well, we need both, and that's okay too. So the archive service really is kind of a catch-all solution connecting to the server and archiving by mailbox. Kind of covered that. So we want to move on now, move on to the demo. And so the first thing that we'll demonstrate here is the experience within the Outlook interface. So we'll take a look at how Laserfiche templates and fields are displayed inside of Outlook, how once we tag a message and the correspondence, how that information will flow into Laserfiche or be put in Laserfiche. We'll look at searching, and then of course we'll take a look at archive rules. So the experience within Outlook, with the Outlook add-in, this is Email Manager, either desktop or enterprise here. We're exposing inside of the actual message in the task pane the ability to view your Laserfiche templates and add this metadata as part of the message now. So what's happening here is we're able to track the entire conversation. This isn't a one-off upload. So I'm starting a communication. let's say it's customer service. I pick the template. It's going to show the fields. So we'll just start putting in some information here. If you have dynamic fields or lookups or those types of things set up in Laserfiche, they're automatically pulled through. All of your Laserfiche authentication and credentials are pulled through here. So, for example, if you are a user that does not have access, I'm logged in as an administrator, so I'm seeing all the templates that are set up in Laserfiche currently. But if I'm a customer service rep and all I have access to in Laserfiche is customer service, that's all I'm going to see here. So we're passing that through via the Laserfiche API. Okay, so just entering in some basic information here about the customer service record, and we'll call it a support request, and that'll be enough for now. I'll come back to this. You see that we have date submitted from, to, subject, date. All of that information can actually be mapped using Outlook properties. So we won't enter that here, and then show you how easy it is, either as a user or as an administrator of the system, to go ahead and map those fields. So I'll send this email to myself, and it's hard to type and talk, so I won't type a whole lot. I'll just go ahead and send that so that you can see how the conversation is starting to become active here. So if I go to my sent items, I see that I just sent this email. It was a customer service, assigned to the customer service template, and it's got this green category. And this green category shows up in the view, Outlook view, and in the task pane. So when I launch this email, you're also going to see it. It's been uploaded, and now I can search that. I can search that, and anyone else that has access to that Laserfiche repository can search this information. So this email travels around. We're going to just send it internally here, but the point should be made that the conversation is tracked throughout its life cycle. So I'm going to open up the inbound receipt. It's already classified here, you see on the right, and I'll hit reply. So I hit reply, and again, the tags for this message are going to hold, and we're going to archive a second email based on sent. And so now all I have to do is hit send. So I don't have to constantly re-enter this information, and it's going to automatically track the conversation, store it inside Laserfiche. So one of the tool sets or productivity applications here is the ability to search Laserfiche related to the conversation, either from the view or inside of the actual task pane. So here you'll see I hit related record search. I'll kick off the search, and it's going to pull back all of the messages that are related to this conversation based on the metadata that's on that particular message, that particular conversation. At this point, all the power of Laserfiche takes over. And so we're uploading to Laserfiche. Laserfiche is now your centralized content management system. Laserfiche handles the versioning, it handles workflow, it handles retention, it handles all these other ECM factors that you've invested in already. So we do handle the ability to integrate with Laserfiche in terms of version tracking and document linking, so that every message on a conversation can be linked, attachments can be stored separately and linked back to the original messages once they're uploaded. So another feature that we want to cover here from a productivity standpoint, if you'll see here, this particular message I've sent from my mailbox account, it's a billing It's an invoice. It doesn't have the green category. And I have a rule. So I'll show you the rules here. I have a rule set up as invoices. And so this rule is set up on the invoices subfolder within my inbox. And I don't have anything applied to it in terms of narrowing the parameters. Everything in this folder that I drag and drop to this folder is going to get picked up, put into the accounting template, put into the Laserfiche as the LF as the repository, and assigned the type of document as invoice. So I'll pick this up, I'll move it over into invoices. Now I'll go into invoices, and what you'll see is it now has the green category, and I can open that up, and it's got this information automatically associated with it. So we can even eliminate the data entry process with rules, or archive rules as we call them. Now, this is where you get into the which application do we use. And the answer is, again, it depends. Are we requiring the end user to review the emails, or would we rather just set up an alias, say invoices@abcco.com, and have the archive service automatically grant those? So to that point, it really depends on the use case, how you want to manage the change of email management within your organization. And of course, that's from a feature set, something that CMA and CMA partners, Laserfiche reseller partners, are able to help you with. So at this point, I do want to turn it over and introduce Juan Perez, who is going to be demonstrating the archive service and giving us a view in terms of automating the archival process. So Juan, let me know if you have control there.
Great. Yeah, I don't have control yet. Okay, there we go.
How about now?
Let me know when you can see my screen.
We can.
Great. Well, thanks, Phil. So I'm going to show two different scenarios. And in terms of receiving the baton from Phil, specifically what he was talking about was instead of having the user decide on what needs to get archived interactively, say we wanted to configure invoices at CMA, integratedcma.com, and have everything go from that inbox into Laserfiche. That's one of the scenarios I'm going to show. That's actually the second scenario. The first scenario I'm going to show is another scenario which we see quite often, and that is, say we have a fulfillment department that's sending out emails to our clients, and some of those emails are going to bounce, right? And so we have the ability on the server archiver to actually catch emails that are coming to an inbox with specific attributes filtered out. So I'm going to show you two different scenarios. The first one is the bounce scenario, where we're going to filter out emails that come into an inbox that have bounced. And when we receive a bounce, the email server will actually send us an email back. And so in our inbox will be, and I'm sure you've seen this before when you send an email to someone that no longer has an email address or their email address changed, you receive a bounce message from that email server. And then the second scenario is to capture everything in that inbox, independent of any attributes at all. So what I'm showing here on the left is the email manager archive server rules. It looks very similar to what you saw in the email manager client in Outlook. But in this case, this is the interface for the administrator to define rules so that our server knows what to pick up and what mailboxes to pick up and listen to. So the first rule we're going to set up is the bounce rule. And we're going to look at LST3 at integratedcma.com. That's the email account we're going to be looking into. And we're going to actually filter on the subject. One second, I think my connection here is, something's wrong with my connection to the server. Okay, there we go. So we're going to look at whether the subject contains the word undeliverable. Now you can imagine creating a rule that has any words or phrases in any of these fields, to, from, subject, or body. And when we find one of those emails, we're going to actually apply a template that we've created in our Laserfiche repository called bounce. Now you'll notice on the right-hand side here, I have the bounces repository ready to go and set up. And we're going to go ahead and create these rules. Now once I create these rules, our server is running in the background, and we're going to be able to, at this point, we do nothing, right? We're ready. The server has the rule. It's updated. And we're going to go ahead and send an email to catch a bounce. So let's go ahead and do that here from Outlook. So we're going to send this email to fake@integratedcma.com. And I know this is an email, and Outlook is telling us this is an email address that's not going to, that's not an actual account set up. So, so we'll go ahead and send this fake email, and we're going to catch that email on the server. And you see that we received this email, and now we'll have caught that email in the background. So taking you over back to the dashboard, I have the dashboard here set up, and it's going to tell us that it's going to tell us that it's caught some. So as you can see from the beginning, this is what I had set up earlier. We had no rules caught today. The dashboard is going to show us the number of rules that have been caught with emails that have come through the server in any of the accounts that we've configured. So let's go ahead and
I'm not sure if you need to hit the update button there, Juan. That might possibly be the issue. And this is the point in the demo where we usually cue the music and somebody starts to dance or sing. I'm sure Juan will figure it out here in just a sec. Bear with us.
that might have been it. Let's check Laserfiche to see if that information has been pushed in. And it has not. So we're running some difficulties here. Going back to the second scenario, what we have is we want to create a new rule that is fetching all information. So I want to, and this is, imagine if you had an email address that you wanted people to send you information and not have anybody monitor that email address. So we're going to call this the project123 email address, and we're going to actually go to the, we're going to pick up any emails that come in from project123@integratedcma.com. And we're not going to actually specify any filter, but we are going to specify a template to catch any general information. We'll go ahead and put that into the project123 account. So let's try this one. All right. So in this case, we did catch the emails, and we may have even That's kind of weird. I think there's something wrong with my rule that I set up there. So we did catch the emails that were inside Project 123, that email account. And you'll notice that these were emails that have been sent in the past. So this is a good point to show, to talk about the fact that there's really two phases of importing these emails from an account. One is, the first phase is what I call the catch-up phase. So imagine any emails that have been sent to an account in the past, and that could be a significant amount of email if that email address has existed for some time. And so what the archive service will do is it will go through all of those emails, parse all the emails for up until this point, and then once it gets to a real-time state, we go into phase 2, which is, you can think of that as real-time listening. And so at that point, we'll listen for any email that comes into the account. Now you can imagine that at some point you'll have to reboot that server, and so there'll be emails that will be coming into that email account while you're not listening because their email is booting up, right? That server is rebooting. And so when we come back into and start up that server again, we'll go back into phase 1, catch up on all the email that has come in, and get back into the real-time phase. So with any luck, the dashboard will update, and we'll see those. Looks like we're not going to have luck today on this. But you do see that these emails have come into Laserfiche, and once they're in Laserfiche, they're message files, so you can actually open them up using Outlook and see that see all the properties that you would in traditional Outlook. So, and remember, this is on the server side, so there's no interactive user. This is just an administrator looking through the repository. One other thing before I finish, I want to show you on the dashboard. Now we have no data in terms of there's some error going on here, but we do have 3 different views. The first one is the daily view, so you can see anything that's going on today. The second is the daily trend for the last 60 days, where you would see a trend line here for how many rules have hit over that time. And then the third view is a weekly view that shows per week how many rules have hit for the last year. So that's pretty much the demo. I'll send it back to you, Phil. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Juan. So I do want to open it up for questions here. If you would, be queuing those up, typing those into the questions window, and as those questions are coming in, we would like to grab a poll from the audience just to get your feedback here on use case, application, better understand from your standpoint which application or both makes most sense to your organization. Because we are seeing a little bit of a trend between industries that are using email manager modules and what they collectively need or want out of the solution. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll. And if you would, just pick here whichever applies to your organization most, whether that's the email manager enterprise, that's the Outlook interface, the Outlook experience, or whether you see yourself or your organization as a company that's more interested in the mail server integration, where we're connecting the mailboxes and archiving everything there. Okay, I think we've got most of the votes in here. So I'll go ahead and close the poll here in a few seconds. And if you would, do feel free to type questions into the question area of the GoToMeeting window, and we will start to answer those. Okay, so we've got our first question here, which is, where do attachments go? So it's a good question. Attachments go into Laserfiche. It is an administrative configuration how to handle attachments. So attachments can be handled either by including them as an attachment in the MSG file. So we're uploading on behalf of the user, and we're not modifying the native format of the files. So the attachment is going to be embedded in the MSG. Now, you have the option as an administrator when you deploy the system to also have attachments stored separate from the message, and they will be picked up by the full-text search engine. So attachments are stored, indexed, and archived in Laserfiche the same way as if you manually uploaded and indexed them. And again, there we pick up on the capability to cross-reference messages within a conversation and the attachments with the linking function within Laserfiche. So the second question is, how are they stored in their original format? So again, good question. We're not modifying the file. We're uploading on behalf of the user systematically. So the native MSG file is uploaded. The native attachment file format is uploaded. So from a compliance standpoint, a systematic standpoint, we are not modifying the file, not converting, et cetera, so on. And the way to think about the Email Manager Suite is to really think of it as a capture tool. So in the the 5 primary categories of ECM, or Enterprise Content Management, you've got capture, manage, store, preserve, and deliver. So this is really a capture tool. It's also a deliver tool because we can access. And then Laserfiche is going to manage the content, manage the workflows, manage the storage, and manage the files. And so the Email Manager Suite just uploads to Laserfiche on behalf of a user, copying the files in and indexing them based on either the user-defined fields and templates or the administrator user-defined fields and templates. Are there any other questions from the audience? Okay, well, we certainly appreciate everyone's time today. We did wrap within the 45 minutes allotted for the webinar, and we certainly appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, and feel free to contact us at info@integratedcma.com. That's info@integratedcma.com. If you need any additional information, we're happy to follow up with a one-on-one or exchange information via email. We thank you again, and we hope to talk to you soon.